Zidane's headbutt. One of the most iconic headbutts in football history came from none other than France's golden boy, Zinedine Zidane. It happened during the 2006 World Cup final, the biggest stage in football where no player wants to walk off early, let alone get sent off with a red card. But that's exactly how Zidane ended his international career, by slamming his head into Marco Materazzi's chest, leaving the entire stadium stunned in silence. Heading into that match, all of France was dreaming of reliving the magic of 1998. They had Zidane, the man who scored a legendary brace 8 years prior, now carrying the country's hopes one last time. But instead of remembering the score or the champion, the world would only talk about that headbutt and poor Materazzi's chest. If that final were a movie, Zidane and Materazzi would have been the lead actors for sure. Earlier in the game, Materazzi had fouled inside the box, and Zidane was the one who took the penalty, a confident chip shot that opened the score for France. But Materazzi later equalized with a header, tying the game 1-1. The full 90 minutes ended in a draw. Both teams went into extra time, and in the 110th minute, chaos erupted. Materazzi suddenly dropped to the ground, rolling like Neymar. The ref didn't hesitate, straight red card for Zidane. No questions asked. The replay showed the two had been arguing moments before. Rumor has it, Materazzi was assigned to stick to Zidane all game long. At one point, Materazzi tugged Zidane's jersey. Zidane, thinking the guy just wanted his shirt as a souvenir, told him to wait until the match was over. But Materazzi supposedly fired back, "I don't want your jersey. I want your sister." That's when Zidane snapped, and Materazzi took a full-force headbutt. France played the rest of extra time with just 10 men, but still managed to drag Italy to a penalty shootout. But luck ran out. They lost 3-5 in the shootout. Zidane faced heavy criticism from the press and fans. A few months later, he officially retired from football. A tragic and bittersweet ending for a true genius. Neymar rolling. When it comes to diving, it's impossible not to mention Neymar's legendary role, a dramatic flop the football world will never forget. It happened in the 70th minute of the Brazil vs Mexico match in the round of 16 at the 2018 World Cup. At that point, Brazil was leading 1-0, and Neymar, as usual, tried to control the game tempo by holding the ball near the sideline. Mexican defender Miguel Layún came in to challenge, and in what looked like a harmless moment, accidentally stepped lightly on Neymar's ankle. But instead of a normal reaction, Neymar activated full drama mode, rolling, twitching, grabbing his face, then his leg like he'd just been hit with an Avada Kedavra curse. The referee had to stop the match and check the VAR, but after multiple replays, there was nothing that justified the pain. The clip of his reaction quickly went viral around the world. Countless parody videos were made. Some places even organized roll like Neymar contests for kids. The farther you roll, the more points you score. And the peak of the trend? A KFC commercial from South Africa. A player fakes an injury, rolls off the field, through fields, down roads, past a herd of cows, and finally stops in front of a KFC to order a large fried chicken combo with soda. No one knows if Neymar got royalties from all that. But one thing's clear, this was a world-class dive of cosmic proportions. The Suarez bites. Whenever Suarez got mad, he didn't yell, kick, or argue. He bit. That's right. He used his teeth to relieve stress. Despite heavy criticism and harsh suspensions, it just wasn't enough to make him stop. He bit his opponents not once, but 3 times, almost like it was a reflex he couldn't control. The first time happened in November 2010, when he was still captain of Ajax. During a heated match against PSV, he suddenly lunged and bit Otman Bakal's neck. Right in front of the referee, it looked like a zombie lost in rage. He was handed a 7-match ban. But clearly, the lesson didn't stick. 3 years later, in April 2013, while playing for Liverpool, Suarez lost control again. This time, the victim was Chelsea defender Branislav Ivanovic. He went straight for the arm, not the ball, but like he was going after raw meat. The cost? A 10-match suspension. But the most infamous bite came during the 2014 World Cup in a Group D match between Uruguay and Italy. Suarez suddenly bit Giorgio Chiellini's shoulder, then immediately grabbed his mouth, as if he was the one fouled. A performance worthy of comedy gold, but there were over 30 cameras filming from every angle. FIFA, of course, wasn't laughing. They labeled it unsportsmanlike conduct and hit him hard. a 9-match international ban, 4 months away from all football activity, and a fine of €82,000. Even real zombies might take a step back when they see Suarez coming. Ronaldo, the seizure before the final. The incident that took place just before the 1998 World Cup final between Brazil and France remains one of the greatest mysteries in football history, when Brazilian superstar Ronaldo Nazário suffered a seizure just hours before kickoff. On the 12th of July, 1998, the world's attention was fixed on Stade de France in Paris. France had Zidane, while Brazil placed all their hopes on Ronaldo, considered the best player in the world at that time. But a shocking piece of news broke that afternoon. Ronaldo was not listed in the starting lineup. It wasn't until exactly 72 minutes before the match that his name was added back to the official squad. According to Roberto Carlos, his teammate and roommate Ronaldo had a seizure during the team's midday rest at the hotel. After having lunch with the team at the Chateau Grande Romaine, Ronaldo returned to his room and suddenly collapsed, his entire body convulsing. Cesar Sampaio, another player, immediately rushed to help and kept Ronaldo safe until the medical staff arrived. Afterward, Ronaldo fell into a deep sleep. Initially, the coaching staff decided to remove him from the lineup for medical reasons. However, the team's chief doctor requested an urgent neurological exam at the Lilas Hospital. While the rest of the Brazilian squad headed to the stadium to prepare for the match, Ronaldo was taken for scans. The results showed no serious neurological or physical issues, so he was cleared to play. Although Ronaldo started the match, the team's morale had already taken a serious hit. As a result, Brazil lost to France 0-3. Zidane scored twice, and France claimed their first ever World Cup title on home soil. To this day, the exact cause of Ronaldo's seizure has never been confirmed. Various theories have emerged: psychological stress, an undiagnosed medical condition, or even conspiracy claims such as poisoning or being forced to play despite poor health. Ronaldo himself later admitted he couldn't clearly recall what had happened that day. This incident remains one of the biggest unanswered questions in the history of world football. Beckham's red card. At the 1998 World Cup, one of the most infamous moments in English football history happened. David Beckham's red card in the round of 16 against Argentina. In the first half, both teams created a dramatic scoring race. Argentina scored first with a successful penalty from Gabriel Batistuta. A few minutes later, England equalized with a penalty taken by Alan Shearer. Michael Owen, just 18 at the time, scored a brilliant solo goal to give England the lead. But just before halftime, Javier Zanetti scored to equalize for Argentina. The score was 2-2. The turning point came in the 47th minute of the second half. Diego Simeone, who was still a player at the time, committed a foul on Beckham from behind. While lying on the ground, Beckham lost his temper and kicked lightly at Simeone's heel. Simeone fell dramatically, and the referee immediately showed Beckham a red card. Simeone received only a yellow card. From that point on, England had to play with one man down for nearly the entire second half in extra time. Still, they held on with a 2-2 draw and brought the game to a penalty shootout. In the shootout, Argentina won by 4-3. England was eliminated. But what the English couldn't forget was Beckham's immature reaction. After the match, Beckham was harshly criticized by both the media and fans. A year-end survey ranked Beckham's red card 9th among the 100 things that angered the British the most that year. He became the target of attacks. Fans burned effigies, booed him, and teammates kept their distance. Beckham fell into depression, withdrew from the media, and lived in isolation. Fortunately, he didn't give up. He did not let down those who believed in him: Victoria, Sir Alex, and every true football fan. Beckham came back, and this time, it wasn't just a return. It was an explosion no one saw coming. Just 1 year later, he helped Manchester United write history with a legendary treble: the English Premier League, the FA Cup, and the UEFA Champions League. At the 2002 World Cup, fate brought Beckham back to the same stage, this time to face Argentina once again. He didn't miss his chance. It was Beckham who scored the only goal of the match, securing a 1-0 victory for England. One goal, one moment. The flying boot at Manchester United. Another infamous drama surrounding David Beckham, this time not on the pitch, but inside the Manchester United locker room. The story became known as the Flying Boot, one of the most notorious incidents in the relationship between Beckham and legendary manager Sir Alex Ferguson. On February 15, 2003, Manchester United lost 2-0 to Arsenal. The defeat sent Sir Alex into a fury. Just one day later, images of Beckham were plastered across every newspaper with visible stitches above his eye. The media went wild, and soon the truth came out. After the match, inside the locker room, Sir Alex was furious because Beckham refused to track back and defend. He had walked slowly, seemingly unconcerned about the game. The two exchanged heated words. While shouting, Sir Alex kicked a boot lying on the floor. No one expected what happened next. The boot flew straight up and hit Beckham right above the eye. Sir Alex later wrote in his autobiography, "I kicked a pile of clothes, and the boot flew up and hit Beck's." He jumped up and swore, and in that moment I thought, he's changed. Beckham didn't deny it. Years later, he admitted in an interview, "I knew he didn't mean to, but that wound marked the moment I realized I was going to leave. One cut, a few stitches, and a lot of damage not just to the skin, but to a relationship that once felt like father and son." From that moment on, their bond began to crack. No one said it out loud, but everyone knew. Beckham wouldn't stay at Old Trafford much longer. Cantona's Kung Fu Kick. On January 25, 1995, Manchester United traveled to Crystal Palace with one clear mission: win the match and take the lead in the Premier League. The first half ended without a single goal, but just 2 minutes into the second half, everything exploded. Eric Cantona was suddenly shown a straight red card for a violent foul on Richard Shaw. His face was tense, his collar stood tall, and his eyes burned with frustration. As he was walking off the pitch, a Crystal Palace fan named Matthew Simmons, only 20 years old, sprinted down from the stands. He pushed through the seats and got right up to the sideline. Then he shouted straight at Cantona, "Go back to your country, you dog." But he didn't stop there. He kept yelling and insulted Cantona's mother with disgusting words no one should ever hear. Cantona paused for a split second. Then, without hesitation, he jumped over the barrier and delivered a flying kick right into Simmons' chest. He followed it with a few punches before security pulled him away. The whole thing lasted just a few seconds on live television, but it became one of the most unforgettable moments in Premier League history. After the incident, Cantona was suspended for the rest of the season. He was fined £40,000 and sentenced to 120 hours of community service. At the press conference that followed, reporters asked him about what happened, and Cantona responded with a single mysterious sentence: "When the seagulls follow the trawler, it is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea." No one really understood what he meant, but that quote became one of the strangest and most iconic moments in sports history. As for Matthew Simmons, it turned out he had a previous conviction for violent behavior. After the incident, he was banned from attending football matches for years. He lost his job, the media tore him apart, his family distanced themselves, and his marriage fell apart. His entire life collapsed, all because he provoked the wrong man at exactly the wrong time. The Giggs scandal. Few expected that a football legend like Giggs would be involved in one of the most serious family scandals the English game had ever seen. In 2003, Giggs began an affair with Natasha, the woman who would later become his sister-in-law. It all started after a chance meeting at a nightclub in Manchester. At that time, Giggs's wife was pregnant with their first child. Even though Natasha later started dating and had a child with Giggs's younger brother, Rodri, the secret relationship between her and Giggs continued quietly in the background. It escalated in 2006, when Giggs's wife was recovering after giving birth to their second child, and he was still secretly meeting Natasha. By the time Natasha officially married Rodri in 2010, she and Giggs were still having an affair. Everything finally fell apart when the media discovered Giggs was also having a secret relationship with Miss Wales, Imogen Thomas. That scandal broke everything open. It revealed that Giggs had been cheating on his wife and at the same time betraying his own brother. The incident destroyed Giggs's public image and tore apart both families involved. It was called one of the most serious moral scandals in British sports history. And the person who suffered the most was his wife, who had been silently betrayed for years. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next football story. See you in the next video.